大家好，我是张老师。Hello everyone, this is Mr. Zhang from the Petersfield School. Today, I would like to take this opportunity to introduce an exciting provision that the TPS school has got to offer, which is the 中文培优项目, the Mandarin Excellence Program. So before we get into the details of what the Mandarin Excellence Program is about, I would like to draw your attention to this question: why we are teaching and learning Mandarin Chinese. The reason why we are exploring this question is because actually this question underpins the reason why we attach such importance to the teaching and learning of Mandarin Chinese within our school community, and also why we have Mandarin Excellence Program as part of the school's curriculum. So here are a few reasons. First of all, as you can see by the number, 955 million people across the world are actually native speakers of Mandarin Chinese. What this indicates is 13%, over 13% of the world's total population, which is a big number. And then secondly, Mandarin is one of the 6 official UN languages, in addition to English, Arabic, French, Russian, and Spanish, and it's actually the fastest growing language in the world. Number 3, which might come across as a surprising fact, because a lot of people, if you have never learned about any Chinese language or any other Asian languages, it might sound or seem quite foreign and mysterious to you. Especially, actually, a lot of people, when you look at the Chinese characters, you might actually find it really complicated because it's very, very different from any European languages, which are featured by letters. In Chinese, we use characters. So a lot of people actually think it's actually complicated, it's abstract, it's difficult, but actually, on the other hand, the grammar of the Chinese language is extremely simple. I can promise you this, not just as a native speaker of Mandarin, but also as the teacher of Mandarin. Number 4, Chinese characters are extremely graphic. What I mean by that is actually a lot of Chinese characters are actually representing real-life situations or the objects that you can see in real-life situations. To just give you an example to help you understand what this actually means, if you take a look at a character that I put down on the bottom right, this character. If you have never learned any Chinese characters, the first time you look at it, you might just get really confused, thinking like, I don't know anything about it. However, if you are a very creative person, and if you can actually take a look at a picture that attached right next to it, you can properly identify the character itself within the picture. So by looking at the little boy holding an ice cream, eating it, and when you see the character, you can properly guess and work out actually the meaning of the character represents eating something. So the character itself is actually means eating. So this is how you can actually apply or link Chinese characters to real life situations. And it's a way for you to actually understand the structure and also to memorize the meaning of the character. Another example, which are the 3 characters that I put down right here, the Chinese characters for calling, eating, and also drinking. These are 3 different Chinese characters. They are all uniquely different. But if you take a look at the similarities that are all shared in common, which is the little square on the left, which represents the mouth. So in Chinese, the commonalities in between characters, we call it the radicals. So once you get to understand what each radical represents, you can easily use that to work out the meaning of the characters that you have never learned before or the character that you have already learned. And the next one, which is about the culture and history of China. In China, there are actually over 5,000 years of history and culture. As a result, there's a lot of interesting activities and also cultural events that you can attend and experiment with. And the last one, if you consider learning Mandarin Chinese as a little challenge or adventure, initially, when you get to develop a certain level of fluency, you get to build a confidence and become a more resilient person. And the next thing, just to let you guys know, the Mandarin Excellence Program, even though it's a uniquely distinctive program, but it's a very well supported program by different organizations across the UK. So these are 3 three key organizations who are very supportive of the Mandarin Excellence Program, which includes the Institution of Education within the University College of London, and also the British Council, and lastly, the Department for Education. On the left, you can see the map of the UK, and all the spots that you can see on the map represents the school that offers the Mandarin Excellence Program. And you can see in the south, just by the coast, right here, is our school, TPS. So these are just some figures for you guys to know as well, that by September 2021, there are around 8,000 students enrolled in the program across the country. And then by October 2022, there are 79 schools in the UK that delivers the Mandarin Excellence Program. So now let's take a look at some of the amazing and fantastic experiences that our student has already got to have as a result of being part of the Mandarin Excellence Program. So in year 7, throughout the school year, our student will have a lot of enrichment activities, both are taking place within the Petersfield school, but also in our trust school, or sometimes it can be external providers like the university. So these are some activities that has already happened in the past. So just want to expose you guys to some of the Chinese languages and elements of the Chinese characters. If you have never learned or see any Chinese languages or hear any Chinese sound. So these are some activities written in Chinese characters, which I'm going to pronounce and introduce at the same time. The first one, in the first picture, as you can see right here, 武术, it refers to the Chinese martial art. And then the second one, 扇子舞, it refers to the fan dance, traditional Chinese fan dance. These are actually two pictures taken in one of our trust schools, where as a trust, a lot of schools within the Bohan Education Trust that actually got to offer the same program. So as a result, annually, we will usually come together to one school, and then teachers from different schools also will invite external specialists to put up a whole day program, enrichment program and workshops for our students to experiment. So these are the example of two workshops in one of our sister school for Chinese martial arts and also the fan dance. And then the next one, 书法, refers to the Chinese calligraphy. 包饺子, which is a very exciting and appealing activity to do for a lot of our students, making the Chinese dumplings, and they get to share the dish. They get to make and cook and share the dish in the end. And the next one, 下象棋, refers to playing Chinese chess. Chess is actually something quite popular among Chinese students. Sometimes when you go to a Chinese university or when you go to a university in the UK, you also see some students sharing playing chess together with their British friends or classmates. And then the last one, 唱中文歌, which refers to singing Chinese songs. Songs are actually a very important element of any languages, because you can imagine yourself growing up exposing and listening to different types of songs from the 60s, 80s, and the same applies to different languages you are learning. Actually, this is something that I feel quite passionate about doing as well as a teacher of Mandarin in the Petersfield school, because in addition to being a Mandarin teacher and also a part-time songwriter, and I usually like to apply my passion into my profession. So this is why over the past few years, I've been writing a lot of Chinese songs. Sometimes I create the lyrics with the students and we compose the music together. And as a result, we were able to actually produce a lot of musical presentations, which were really, really impressive. And which is also something I'm very, very much look forward to doing with the new Year 7 cohort for next year. And then this is some information, also some opportunities and activities for the Year 8 Mandarin Excellence Program. So historically, as part of the program, the Year 8 student usually will went on a 2-week intensive learning trip to one of the universities in China. But because of the pandemic and also the restriction over the last few years, the trip hasn't really been going ahead. But we are actually hoping that next year in July, the trip will be resumed, and then we will be able to go on to China. But at the moment, nothing can be confirmed yet, because of all the changes over the last few years. Like there might be some changes regarding the trip to China. We're not sure at the moment whether the Year 8 cohort will still go on to China, or maybe they'll wait and let the Year 9 cohort to go to China instead. But even without the trip, there will still be a lot of enrichment activities, like pretty much like what the Year 7s are doing. The Year 8 students will also get involved in all this cultural experience and exposure and enrichment activities throughout the school year. And this one, just to let you guys know, as part of the Mandarin Excellence Program, because of all these like different organizations, British Council, UCL, and also the Department of Education, we have a lot of collaboration with Chinese schools and also universities. Altogether, in 7 cities in China, there are 10 institutions from the higher education and 37 secondary schools in China who on a regular basis we collaborate with. Either we do the trip together, we do like Zoom lessons together, or we have some project going on. So this is like the connection that we have within China. Next one. For Year 9, usually historically, as part of the program, the Year 9 student will usually went on also a 2-week intensive learning trip in one of the universities in the UK. However, again, because of the pandemic, the restriction, this hasn't really been going ahead over the last few years. But instead, we do substitute the 2-week intensive learning in one of the British university with a virtual China program, which is equally exciting because one of the Chinese universities will actually paired up with our school and they get to design a whole week intensive language and cultural activities with our students. So usually they will deliver all these workshops and these lessons online through Zoom. And all the people who are delivering these programs and these lessons, they are very, very experienced university lecturers and teachers who are from the Chinese universities. So some of the programs and activities that are involved in this program, which is something that we did already with the Year 9 cohort, and it's also something that we are going to do as well this year with the current Year 9 cohort. As part of the virtual China program, there are live lessons delivered by uni teachers in China, very intensive and useful Mandarin lessons about Mandarin languages and grammar and vocabulary. And there's also cultural workshops such as martial arts, calligraphy, watercolor painting, and also panda zoo. So even though we were not able to go to China, but a lot of Chinese volunteers and Chinese teachers and students, they took the opportunity to actually go into the local zoo and they actually presented live. So we still get to actually see what the local situation is like. There's also Chinese language partner, which is actually the most exciting section for a lot of our British students, where within the section, they got to pair it up with a Chinese student from one of the Chinese secondary schools, and they get to actually use the language they learn to conduct conversations, to discuss different issues, exchange different cultures, which is a very, very exciting experience for a lot of our students. They have been speaking quite highly of that every time they finish that section. And this year, there's also an additional section, which is about having a host family. One of the secondary school students who delivered who actually interacted with our students in this program, they are going to actually take us to his house. It's not a pre-recorded video. It's going to be a live section where the student will actually show us what his house looks like. So you will see what a Chinese apartment building looks like and what the family is like. And they will have conversations about their school life, about their daily routines, about their family, which is really, really insightful. And it's really something exciting that we are looking forward to for this year. And then for Year 10, usually there are intensive learning courses going on as well. So usually starting from last year and also this year, the program that we have been delivering and offered to the Year 10 Mandarin Excellence Program student or the cohort is the tourism campaign. So the main idea is about deciding a location in the UK where the students will use the target language, which is Mandarin Chinese, to prepare to design a slogan, to design a poster, and also to come up with a persuasive speech and itinerary. And the whole reason of doing this is for students to actually position themselves as a company or as somebody who's owning the company, and they want to actually design a certain kind of tourism product to attract the Chinese, to sell it to the Chinese tourists, and to attract them to actually come over to the UK to want to enroll in their tourism program. This is a very fantastic opportunity because students get to use a lot of things that they learn from the GCSE curriculum, and they get to be really creative. They not only applying the GCSE knowledge, but they're also learning about a lot of knowledge beyond the curriculum through an online platform called Presit, and also Learn Upon, which is provided by the University College of London. On the platform, there's a lot of useful resources and also interactive tasks for students to complete individually. And after that, they also get to work as a team to design all these posters, itinerary, and in the end, they do need to put together a presentation in the format of the video, and that is something that they got to share when it comes to the enrichment the day trip to the university at the University of Southampton, where they get to actually meet other Year 10 students from other NEP schools. They got to actually attend different workshops together. They got to actually mingle and exchange the experience together, and most importantly, they get to actually see each other's work. By the end of the 3 days intensive learning, and we got to vote for each other. We got to actually really appreciate and try to learn from each other. So that is a really fantastic and amazing experience. So these are just some pictures of the posters that our students were able to produce by the end of the 3 days, and there's also a picture of them in the Southampton University attending lectures offered by university lecturers, and also having workshops, interacting with students from other schools. And then, lastly, just some main things. As a result of the Mandarin Excellence Program, because of the unique elements of the Chinese language and also the Chinese culture, throughout the school year, there's a lot of Chinese events and activities and festivals that we got to celebrate as within the school. These are some examples like Mid-Autumn Festival, which links to this picture right here. 中秋节, as you can see, the 3 characters. 中秋节, Mid-Autumn Festival, where Chinese people get to actually make the mooncake and sit down as a family. We eat the mooncake. We talk about the past. We drink tea. We appreciate the moon in the evening. And then the second one is the Spring Festival, which is actually the Chinese New Year. And number 3 is the Lantern Festival, where people usually go to the local parks and they see the design of different lanterns and learn about the meaning and the inspiration idea behind it. And then number 4 is the Qingming Festival, which is actually the festival where people will actually go back to their hometown to show respect to the ancestors who got passed away in the past. Number 5 is the Dragon Boat Festival, which is right here. 端午节, the Dragon Boat Festival, where is the festival where people will be making rice dumplings. You will see a lot of that in a lot of Chinese restaurants, and also people will go to the lake or the sea just to actually see the competition on the race of the Dragon Boat. So the reason why I put down the 3 pictures and also the characters right here is also just to reinforce the message that I said previously. Even though Chinese characters or language seems rather foreign and kind of different, it might actually be a little bit daunting. But actually, there's a lot of similarities. There's a lot of creative and very artistic ways for you to actually learn about the characters and memorize the meaning of that. Like the 3 examples right here, as you can see, there's a commonality that they all share, which is the last character, 节. Okay, the last character 节 right here, which represents, as you can probably guess, festivals. So at the end, this is just to actually reinforce why this program is such an exciting and fantastic opportunity, not just for our students, but for our teachers. These are some testimonies from students and teachers across the country. So it's not just from within one school, it's actually a lot of schools, 79 NEP schools at the moment across the UK, and it's still expanding, it's still growing, because the students really enjoyed it. It really boosts their confidence. They really learn a lot and really broaden their horizons to something new. They see different ways of living life. They understand different ways of thinking. They also were able to use a foreign language to actually express their ideas, their meaning, and to also communicate. These are all important artifacts and important elements that they can actually use, and the skills that they actually develop in this program are really, really beneficial for their future education and also their future career. Now let's take a look at the requirement of the Mandarin Excellence Program. As required by this program, all MEP students are committed to 4 hours of Mandarin learning per week. At TPS, 3 hours of the Mandarin will be timetable lessons. But what it means is for each year group of the Mandarin Excellence Program, there will be an additional 1 hour or one lesson after school on one of the weekdays. And then when it comes to the commitment to the homework and also proactive learning at home, that is something that we would like to emphasize. And the reason for doing that is just to guarantee or ensure that students can reach a certain level of fluency and accuracy in terms of the learning and the using of the language towards the end of the program. So there are 4 types of homework that students can expect once they embark on their journey of the Mandarin Excellence Program in Year 7 towards the end of the Year 11 study. The first type of homework is the character writing on weekly basis. So on weekly basis, we will learn about 1 or 2 different topics. All the vocabs and the characters within the topic, we will expect students to do a lot of writing practice. But obviously, we don't expect students to be able to write every single one of them because in some topics, there will be a lot of vocab. But we will identify some key phrases and keywords that students have to know how to write in order to actually succeed in their writing exams. And once in a while, probably once a term, there will be essay writing for students to actually create a piece of writing in response to a certain topic. And the second type of homework is character recognition tasks. This is something that's usually easily conducted on Quizlet or quizzes. So if you don't know about these 2 platforms, this is something that students can actually do online, either on their laptop or they can download the app on their phone as well. There will be flashcards, a lot of flashcards of Chinese characters. What students need to do is basically just to look at the characters, double check whether they know the meaning. They can always flip it to the back to check the meaning in English. There's also quizzes for students to actually do a little bit assessment on weekly basis to see how many characters they are actually able to recognize, whether they remember the sound of the character as well. And the next type of homework is the speaking tasks. This links pretty much to the GCSE speaking exam, as well as all the enrichment activities that we have either within the school or outside the school. So the speaking tasks can be conducted in 2 forms. The first one is the dialogue, where the students will need to find a partner. Either it's like their classmate from the same class, or they can actually do it with a family member. You'll be surprised that actually a lot of students will actually ask their parents or their sibling to be their language partner to actually do the conversation or the dialogue, even though they have never learned any Mandarin, but they can actually be the student teacher themselves. They will teach their family members or their siblings some of the key phrases and also like the sentences in order to have in order to record a dialogue or conversation at home in a target language, which is really fun actually for a lot of students or even for parents to do at home with their kids. Once in a while, they also need to prepare. I would say once a term, they will need to prepare an article or like a speech in order to actually be able to discuss a certain topic within a certain length. And then the last one is the cultural assignment and also the research. In addition to all the cultural enrichment activities that we got to offer within the school, in university, or in our other trust schools, there are also a lot of cultural assignments and research projects that has already been prepared and provided by the University College of London. So with all this discussion of homework and things, this is something that I would like to show you guys, which is the picture of an essay writing produced by one of our students. You might be thinking, taking a look at it, there's a lot of information, a lot of characters within this piece of writing. Is it something that was probably produced by our Year 10, Year 9, or even Year 11 students? No, actually, you might be surprised. That is something that our Year 7 students were able to produce by the end of the first year of learning. So that is just something to let you know that is what they are able to achieve, and this is the reason why, as being part of this program and engage in the learning process, they're able to actually develop the confidence and also the resilience because they are able to actually do something like that. And we as teachers and as a school, we are every single step supporting them to actually reach there to achieve the goal. And this is pretty much the result of a lot of weekly homework that a lot of students are committed to doing on a weekly basis. Usually on weekly basis, we ask the student to practice writing the characters, to recognize the characters, or to actually practice the speaking, but we don't actually tell them how many times they need to do that on a weekly basis. What we do as a school or as the program is to just get a target to the student on a weekly basis. We'll identify the key phrases within each topic where the student should be able to actually write correctly. There will be certain type of questions that they should be able to respond accurately. But when it comes to the practice, our students, they are very proactive by themselves. As you can see, this one student who just practiced the whole page of character writing. This is not really something that is directed by the teacher, but it's just the student is so motivated and so eager to actually get it right, to remember it in the long term, that they actually do that he actually did that much practice on a weekly basis. So there's a lot of successful examples and motivating examples that we have within the school as part of this program, which is like mutually inspiring towards the students. And lastly, just want to let you guys know the support that we have in place, because I think a lot of parents, including the students, probably will feel a little bit like anxious, thinking like, is this the right program for me? Because like my parents don't know anything about Mandarin, and as parents, you might be thinking, what if my kids struggle? Like, what are the resources that I can use? I don't know anything about Mandarin. I don't know that much about Chinese culture. How do I support my kids along the way whenever they struggles? Right. Here are the supporting materials that we have in place. First of all, we got the textbook from Year 7, Year 8, all the way to Year 11, including the GCSE textbook, all in electronic files. If any students or parents would like to actually have access to it, like it will all be made available on the homework platform. So which is something that a student can refer to support their weekly homework moving forward. And the second thing, which is a very handy and also useful app that a student can download on their phones, which is called Placo. That is a Chinese dictionary. It's very, very easy to use. Once you download it and you install simplified Chinese characters, students will be able to use that to input Chinese characters or to actually find Chinese characters to support their homework. And in addition to that, there will be a knowledge organizer, which is what KO stands for. That is something that is created by teachers across the trust, because across the trust, the Bohan Education Trust, we got many schools that actually offer the same program, Mandarin Excellence Program. So all our Mandarin teachers, we work together, or we have worked together as a team to create the knowledge organizer, which is basically the summary of the key vocabulary, the grammar structure, and also there are links to Quizlet, to exercise, to all kind of resources within each topic of the curriculum, where students will have access to it. They can use that to actually support their lesson tasks. They can use that to support their homework. They can use that to revise for the exam as well. And all the lesson resources will also be made available in addition to that. And most importantly, also want to let you guys just to reinforce to let you guys make you guys aware that as teachers, we are always there to support students. So whenever they struggle, please do get in touch with us. They can either come to a teacher directly and ask for help. If parents got any concern, to get in touch with me through email as well. And also lastly, just also want to let you guys know, luckily, because of our partnership with the British Council, with the university, that we do have a teaching assistant every single year assigned by the British Council, just to support our students with their writing skills and reading skills especially. So these are three key elements and three key goals that we expect students to reach towards the end of the Mandarin Excellence Program. One is the spoken competence, not just in terms of the pronunciation, being able to not be afraid to make mistakes as a confident speaker, but actually be able to just really stand out and just like use the language as a tool to express their ideas and meanings. And then the second thing is the written competence. So that is something that will come across probably as a challenge, but once you get to know about the structure of the characters, and also like the key features of the characters, you become much easier and simple along the way. That's something that I can guarantee you. The written competence, be able to produce a piece of essay to express the meaning or to discuss a certain kind of issues. And then lastly is the ownership of the Chinese language. And what it means by that is that we want our student to take pride in the fact that they are able to understand the language, that they are able understand the language Mandarin Chinese, and they are able to actually use the language as a tool to express the meaning in terms of like either in terms of the oral language or written language. We wanted to actually take pride in it, and also most importantly is actually we wanted to become autonomous learner towards the end of the program. We wanted to know that how to actually progress and how to actually learn a language by themselves. So even without the presence of a teacher to facilitate or to support them. And next, yeah. So so far with all the information that I have already provided for you, if you still got any questions regarding the program or regarding the support or regarding the enrichment opportunities that this program or even the commitment and requirement of this program, please do get in touch with me. Any questions, do send me an email. Me, Mr. Zhang, and the head of Mandarin in the Petersfield school, and that is my email address on the slide. So if any questions that you would like to actually ask, do get in touch with me. Some parents are actually quite proactive actually in the past. They sometimes will send me an email even before their kids embark their journey in Year 7. They will be asking for resources to actually do some pre-learning. This is also something that I can provide. So any question, any concern, anything that you don't know, please do get in touch with me. And following this, I'm going to actually end this presentation with a little presentation actually that I prepared just to welcome our new Year 7 students, which is actually a song that I created using some very simple Mandarin phrases, and just to actually send a heartwarming welcome to our Year 7 students, because I'm so looking forward to you, and I'm so looking forward to so many exciting things that we can do together. There we go. 你好，再见，谢谢你。你好，再见，谢谢你。学习中文常用语 TPS 欢迎你。学习中文常用语，张老师在这等你。I very much look forward to seeing our new Year 7 cohort for the Mandarin Excellence Program. See you at TPS.